Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to tonight's shenanigans. Tonight, we are going to be launching episode 1 of our Untold Chronicles game set up in the Dredges. I can see that Umbral Warrior 1 is with us, and he spent some time as a character up there. Um, in a different campaign. So he will see some things that maybe are a little familiar. Hey, Brooks, thanks for joining us as well. So, Untold Chronicles, our mega campaign where we've got 8 different games going on simultaneously, all in separate locations around the game world, and who knows, we will be weaving an interconnected plot story. So it'll be interesting to see how and when they all begin to connect together. So, without further ado, we're going to switch across to our live scene. We're going to say hello firstly to our players that have kindly volunteered to take part in the games. And then once we've got that, we'll do a little bit of thank yous, and then we will go straight into the game itself. So, DeFago, please introduce yourself. The real you, that is, the real you.
Hello, everyone. So the real me is Michael, who is currently playing DeFago tonight.
And we will learn all about it in a moment or two. I'm very excited. And then we have a Pectinus. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tom, and I'll be playing the role of Pectinus.
Very nice. Cheers, Tom. Thank you for joining us as well. Then we have Clyde. Hello, Clyde.
Hello, I'm Barry and I'm playing Clyde. I'm trying to keep him alive, even though Andy's not a big fan of rogues.
Oh, I love rogues. Rogues are my most favourite character class. They just sometimes think that they are immune to being seen with all of their wonderful stealth modifiers. And it has been proven multiple times that this is not exactly true. Then, last but not least, we've got David. Hiya, David. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Jerry. Joe House on Discord and on Twitch, and I'll be playing David.
Excellent stuff. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I'm very excited to say it is episode 1 of The Dredges, and it's going to be interesting to see where it takes us. So, firstly, thank you to you, our players. Thank you to you, our audience, and we have to say a big shout out and a thank you to Hero Forge as well, who has allowed us permission to use their magnificent images. If you get chance, please check out Hero Forge at their website. There's a little bit of a disclaimer I'm going to read out, which is as follows. Many of the character images are designed using Hero Forge, a wonderful way to create your own custom miniatures and get them 3D printed. You can visit their website at www.heroforge.com. Please note anything mentioned on the stream may not represent the view or beliefs of Hero Forge or Sky Castle Studios LLC product. But please go check them out. It's amazing the amount of customization you've got to create your characters and NPCs and everything else. And they have been incredibly generous to allow us to use their images on our streams, and we very much appreciate it. So, without further ado, we've only got an hour and a half for each session, so let us deep delve into the world of the Untold Chronicles, and in particularly the Dredges. I'm just going to call up, if I can get this to work, the images there for you. I'm going to share this. I think everybody's seen it, but this fantastic map that has been done. So, the Dredges, far, far to the north of the smoke, but still in Europa, just about, are the Dredges, at the edge of the civilized world, although many would argue that civilization has long finished before you even reached the Dredges. And as you begin to approach the very first township from the south, the one that is entitled Hope, the camera focuses in on the sign. It should say welcome to, but both of those words have long been erased and replaced with the words abandon all hope in place of it. The population is listed as 1,178. You can see though that seems to change almost on a daily basis. This is a small settlement of people huddled together for safety, very transit, people moving into the Dredges and out of the Dredges consistently, those that survive it anyway. There are no pavements of gold here, no flagstones, no cobblestones. The roads, even the main ones, are muddy and dirty. Welcome to the Dredges and welcome to Hope. So, as the camera zooms past and enters this shanty town of sorts, it begins to find and focus our protagonists, our characters. It is early in the morning, the sun has just come up. DeFago, the camera zooms in to you. What does it see?
So at this time in the morning, DeFago's been up for a bit. He has a shack on the outskirts of town, outside of which are some wooden structures on which are stretched various skins from the animals that he hunts around the town. He's making his way in and out of the shack, doing various bits of work. Inside, you can see it's tidy but fairly sparse. Probably what catches the eye is a few pots, or more like jars containing odd bits and pieces that he's found interesting. Beyond that, he's muttering what appeared to be fairly random words if there was anyone listening to himself. Nothing that particularly makes immediate sense. So he might trip over something that is, say, one of his furs or whatever, and mutter disparagingly, take plenty of water, as if it's some sort of curse. But obviously, to the listener, it wouldn't obviously make any sense.
Of course, there's a reason for this. Do you want to give us a description of what you look like as well?
So DeFago is a Kenku, and the best description I've had of Kenku and how they speak is from one of the, I forget which one of the writers of D&D, who suggests that Kenku sound like Bumblebee from Transformers, in as much as they speak in sentences that they picked up, which kind of fit with what they want to say.
Absolutely. They're mimickers, and they are expert mimickers at that.
He, at first glance, people have said, "Oh my goodness, you're albino. That's very rare." His feathers look less healthy than that. They look very pallid, as if something has happened to them, and you can still see maybe hints of dark feathers underneath. It isn't a natural, lovely dove-like color. It is, in certain lights, maybe almost sort of pallid, sickeningly yellow, cream color. But yeah, that's what he looks like.
Okay, that is perfect. And have you got any intentions for today?
He's going to probably check that some of the skins that he's laid out are probably ready to take to the local trading store to either fulfill an agreement that he's already been part paid for, or to see whether he can pass on to the owners to see if they can sell. Beyond that, later on, he's probably going to go and do some more learning at the local, is it the mission, I think?
Yeah, there's definitely a mission in town. But you can certainly head down there after you've done the things that you need to do to ensure that you earn some food, or at least coin to purchase some food. Um, Speaking of that, the camera moves away from you and sort of focuses on Pectinus. If you want to introduce your character, what he'd be doing first things in the morning.
Optimus is probably getting ready to go out and try and drum up some enthusiasm for his tutelage. To look at him, he is a rather physically unimpressive halfling, shorter than most, overweight, not possessed of any great muscular definition or of nimble grace. He's unremarkable. Um, he's getting himself dressed up. He's got lots of thick woolen gear that looks like it was probably picked out by a worried parent when he said he was going off to the the cold northern lands of the Dredges. He's rather pale. He probably hasn't spent a lot of time outdoors in his lifetime. Um, and as he sets out, just before he leaves, he pulls on a nice thick woolen hat on his over his curly hair, and just twirls his mustache to give it a bit of extra curl.
Very nice. Getting ready for the day. Perfect. And then the camera moves a distance way again, I believe, but I could be wrong. Focuses in on Clyde. Where did the viewers find you? And describe yourself.
Well, Clyde is sort of waking up from sleeping on the floor of the mission. Um, his mentor died about a month ago, so he pretty much went on a 3-week bender, which ended up with various innkeepers dumping him at the mission for the night so he could throw up through the day. So he decided about a week ago it's time to pull himself together. So he's been making himself useful around the mission. And he's sort of keen not to spend his money on the boarding house. So he's taken to sleeping on the clinic floor and getting up a little bit before Dorvid and Pectinus and looking busy.
Excellent stuff. So yeah, that sounds very appropriate, and you managed to achieve that this morning as Pectinus has kind of spotted you. Dorvid, the camera moves from Clyde and focuses upon you. Introduce yourself. Where are you, and what do you look like?
Well, the camera will go straight back to that Pectinus is in, and just go to the other side of the room. Is Dorvid's having quite a thorough wash. He's a halfling. He's maybe a little shorter than Pectinus, but he takes some pride in his appearance. He's got big bushy sideburns and quite nice blonde hair, which he brushes. But like you might notice, he's like he washes himself a bit more than normal person would. And as he prepares for the day, he puts on his plague mask, which is sort of custom built with filters in it. That he puts various herbs in and and like he'll clean like the goggles in it and put in his hat, and then put on a pair of rubber gloves, grab his bag, and set off to the mission, to the clinic.
Okay. As you and Pectinus begin to set out, as Clyde kind of leans on a broom looking busy. Can all three of you give me perception rolls, please? And I will remind you that we're using the homebrew rules now. So yeah, very first rolls of the game, perception. You go to your skills on your page, chap. Oh, that's good. And Clyde, you are potentially able to notice this, but you don't. Only you, Pectinus, you notice something. The majority of shacks, abodes, houses, rundown buildings within the dredges are all built above the ground, only slightly, maybe anywhere between sort of 2 to 5 feet, to keep it off the really damp ground that can just rot the floorboards. And you most definitely hear something. You hear something underneath, something scrabbling underneath your floor. Not in your basement, literally in the mud underneath your house.
Oh, what's that?
Well,
You guys hear?
that seems most unusual.
I probably the thing I do is just put my ear to the floor.
Okay, with that, with the fact that you've already made your perception roll, it's odd. They could obviously hear your footsteps, and as you stop, they kind of seem to go silent. But with your 14, you can hear someone or something out of breath, and on top of that, they seem to be crying.
Yes,
What do you hear, Pectinus?
I think there's someone downstairs. Is there a downstairs to this building? I didn't think there was.
You know that this is
Neither did I.
just a shack, and it's literally just lifted off the floor out of the mud.
Oh yeah, buildings are all on stilts, aren't they?
Yeah.
Might it be in the crawl space?
Yes, that makes sense. Should we go have a look?
Yes. Clyde, dear boy. Would you mind accompanying us?
I will, though obviously you two are a lot better height to get into the crawl space.
Oh yeah, I just mean I just stand at the entrance, and if anything jumps out, I just put an arrow in it.
Yeah, sure. Anything kills you, I'll make sure I get it.
We'll head for the door.
Okay. Simple enough. You kind of do this, and you come out onto what is kind of like a veranda or porch. I mean, that sounds like the height of luxury. It's not. It's just a place that you can scrape all of the mud off without getting it into your house in the first place. There is a rickety pair of steps that kind of drop down maybe the 2.5 feet, which you can move down into the thick sort of muddy street. You can see that life is beginning to stir within Hope. People are going about their business. No one here looks particularly distressed or looking for anything. As you begin to sort of turn your attentions to the noise, it's about this point that DeFago, you were headed towards the mission, and you see this strange sight of Dorvid, Pectinus, and Clyde sort of looking out on the street and looking somewhat confused.
Defargo will head on over.
You all see Defargo now break out of the general crowd moving up and down the road and heading towards you.
Hey, you made it out alive. The three of them, you will recognise this is Defago's standard greeting, meaning that he's pleased to see someone.
Good morning, Defargo.
So we're going to have a look then.
Yes.
It's a good idea. I'll just try and peer under, start clambering down to get under the struts.
Yeah. I mean, your height really helps you here. It really does. If you think the streets are bad, underneath these buildings are even worse. They haven't been cleared out in a long time. Your eyes become accustomed to the dark somewhat, and you peer in to the darkness. Give me a perception roll.
Okay. Oh,
Very good. So yeah, you definitely see something pectinous, something moving back towards the back of the thing. David, though, you can make out the shape substantially better. Yeah, you know this individual. It's a young lad by the name of Elwood Christie. It's one of the few people that have shown any kind of interest in being schooled by Pectinus. And it is the son of the blacksmith. He looks very nervous, and with the 22, that very good perception roll, he looks very much like he's been crying.
so is this one of your students, Pectinus?
Yes. Wood? Everything okay?
No, no, no. No, it's terrible, terrible. My father is dead.
What?
Dead. Yeah, he's dead.
Happened?
They say it was my mother. They say she killed him. And he just bursts out in tears.
The mournful howl of a wolf comes from the outside.
Okay, he panics at that and is looking around left, right, and centre.
All right.
They're probably going to send me to the orphanage. They've taken her to the jail.
They've taken your mother.
Yes.
Come, let's get you into the mission. Let's get you
Come
on.
inside. Good idea.
Give me a persuasion roll. He kind of has come here for a reason. He kind of trusts you. So I am going to allow you to have advantage on this roll, but he's still quite nervous at the moment.
Oh. Persuasion. From both of us, or
No, just one of you. I think you was telling him to come into the mission, weren't you?
yeah.
Wow.
Spectacular.
Yeah, no. I mean, you don't know. Maybe it's because Pectinus is the one that has been schooling him. Maybe it's because you've got this mask on that is quite possibly terrifying. But he begins to. I'm just gonna run away. This I know. I shouldn't have bothered you. And you hear him begin to scrabble out.
No, go. I'll tell you what. How about we just stay under here for a bit? We'll have a look, see what we can find out. Just stay here. I'll give him a snack. I've probably got a snack in my pocket. I usually do.
Sounds fine by me.
Offer him
I've got-
something to eat.
I've got some porridge ready. I can bring some out.
I've not had breakfast yet. That would be nice.
I'll go and get a bowl and feed it to the shorter brethren to take in.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll,
Yeah,
I'll,
David.
and take it and give it to pass it over to Peximus and step back with my mask on.
Okay. So, I mean, how, even at your smallish halfling height, you're going to have to stoop if you want to get down underneath here, and it is filthy. Are you putting the porridge just at the edge, or are you attempting to get under a little bit closer?
I'm not sure he'll get it if we just leave it at the edge. So
What the hell do you think you're doing? DeFargo says, and crouches down. He unrolls what looks like a fairly tattered, probably not good enough for selling, piece of skinned animal, which he sort of rolls so it goes underneath, and then motions for the bowl to perhaps to be put on it, and then maybe the child can tug it under.
Yeah, I mean, this is good, and the steaming porridge, the furs, and him seeing you, Pectinus, rather than this bemasked individual, seems to calm him down. You get the impression that this was his first choice of place to run to, and as I said, he's kind of your star pupil. He kind of wants to learn. There's something about him in terms of most of the people here are not interested in schooling. It's been a really hard work, and it's been a pleasure to teach this kid. And there's obviously some kind of bond formed between you. So, with that in mind, he does tentatively come forward and sit on the fur, on the skin, as opposed to in the horrible, filthy mud. And he's not starving. He's obviously just fled this morning, but he begins to eat down this porridge. Do you think you could? My mother would never do anything like this. Uh, I mean, not only wouldn't she do it, she couldn't do it. My father is the smith. You know how strong he is.
yes, it does seem
He
rather.
was,
Sorry, say that one at a time. Hello? Anybody?
Hello.
yeah, sorry. I thought I'd interrupt Peximus. I think David would agree as he goes to Stevie, reaches into his pocket and he gives Elwood a lollipop.
Okay, he kind of sort of takes off you. He seems to have calmed down a little bit now. He's got a little bit of food in his stomach, and he sees that you seem to actually want to help him, so he takes that and he calms down. Shall I stay here for you?
I'll tell you what, we've got a fire going inside. Why don't you come in, Elwood, out of sight, and we'll see what we can do about your mother.
Yeah, I'd like that. He quickly. I don't want to go to the orphanage.
Well, I'm sure-
See what we can do.
Okay. And you take him inside. He sits down by the fire. He's covered in filth and mud. sits down to finish his porridge off, warming himself by the fire. Okay, so you have a quandary, a dilemma. Where do you wish to go? What do you want to do?
What do we know about the smith and his wife, Andy?
You've only been in town a short while, but you certainly know Elwood, and as I said, he's definitely wanted to learn, and he was encouraged by both his parents to, as soon as they realised that this is one of the services that you were going to offer, and they've been very supportive in his learning. Everybody in the Dredges has a story, and quite often they don't speak about that story. They're all human. It's a human family. Um, he's good at his craft, though. Very good. Um, um, got an inquiring mind that he's passed down to his son. And his name, just so you're aware, I know that I've already sent it out to you, is Sullivan Christie, and his wife is Verla Christie. She seems to be very pleasant as well. There's been a few times that Elwood has presented you with a pie and the like that she's baked to say thank you for the schooling. It's about as much as you really know, but in terms of the Dredges, they were most definitely the least likely that you thought you would have any trouble from.
So, I think I know what I'd like to do. I think I would like to go and inspect the body.
Okay, well, you have no authority here, but you have set yourself up as some kind of doctor. This might help you in this endeavour. You sort of think for a moment, and you think there's not much of law around here. There's the marshal and some deputies, but it's not like the smoke where massive investigation might go on. You think the body is most likely already at the undertaker's, getting measured up. The undertaker in town also seconds as a carpenter, and his name is Thurman Gray. That is your best guess that is where the body would be. I'm just going to put that into chat as well.
I'm in grey.
Yeah.
Now,
He
would
is.
anyone get to come along, or
Deal me in. He nods.
Do we want to maybe
Yeah.
stop by the smithy on the way?
can do?
See no harm in it.
Okay, I mean, the smithy is definitely kind of on the way anyway, so you would have to more or less go past it to go to Thurman Gray's sort of undertaker's business. So is that your choice? You want to head to the smithy first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a massive place. It's one of the bigger places within the Dredges is Hope, but it's not massive. It doesn't take you very long at all to squelch through the muddy streets. There is occasionally a sidewalk of cut timber that you can kind of walk across. There are a number of horse troughs and the like, but it's almost impossible to keep the mud off you. You get to the smithy, and the first thing that you notice, it has a small, what would be a shop, the smithy itself, and then there is round the back the family house or shack. And the first thing you notice is the forge most definitely hasn't been heated today. The whole place looks closed down. And I refer you to my previous statements about the law here. It's not like this is a crime scene. There's no deputies guarding the place or anything else. The whole place is just closed down and locked up.
Is there anybody about, Andy, that we can see?
Yeah, I mean, there's people walking up and down the street. This is obviously kind of in prime position. You want the smithy to be available to people. This isn't really about crafting armor and weapons. This is much more functionality within this kind of settlement, making all sorts of useful bits of metalwork, including horseshoes and the like. It sits prime of place. That said, the way that it is structured, the house is round the back and is substantially more private.
So can we make our way round the back without seeming at all suspicious and see if there's an obvious way in?
I mean, you can certainly try. The first thing, I guess, this is just for you, Clyde, because you're asking it. If you want to give me like a perception roll to see if anybody is particularly paying attention to you, this will gauge. Brilliant. You're kind of looking around. Nobody's really paying attention. You're not even sure whether anybody knows that anything is truly wrong here at the moment. It's, you might well be one of the first people to know what has actually happened here.
So is there an obvious back door, or
Well, what you do is you go down kind of almost a small alley. There's no real streets here. The shacks are built close to each other, but you can easily go round the back or through the smithy itself to the house that is directly behind it without drawing any real attention to yourself. There is a back door to the shop. The smithy itself is open. You don't want it actually really inside. It has a roof to it of sorts, but it is open-sided.
and is there any sort of sign of a struggle?
Start giving me investigation rolls. Clyde, no and no. You don't really notice anything at all unusual sort of here. Certainly not on the outside anyway.
So with the cleric's permission, I'd like to quietly let myself in.
Yeah, just careful.
Hell yeah.
Need to know what's happening.
So I guess you want to try and pick the lock.
Yes.
Okay, give me either a thieves' tool with proficiency if you've got it, or a sleight of hand roll, please.
Where would I find thieves' tools?
Basically, it just depends. If you've got proficiency in it, it will just be dexterity. Sometimes your sleight of hand might be even better. Have you got proficiency with thieves' tools?
With thieves' tools, yes.
Yeah, so your modifier will just be your +3 for your dexterity and +2 for your proficiency. So you've got a d20 +5 on that roll.
So if I just make a dexterity roll.
Yep. Oh dear, and that is a critical fail with that natural
Ooh.
one. So as you begin to sort of fiddle around with the lock, things start to go bad. Now, as per my rules with critical fails, you can push your luck here. So the way this works is it's a bit like the Call of Cthulhu pushing your luck, is you can opt to make another roll again. If you make another roll and succeed, then you succeed. Nothing happens. If you fail, though, then something very bad happens. There's a degree of narrative that will indicate maybe you don't just not allow yourself in, you might get caught breaking and entering, etc., etc. There's a whole host of different narrative descriptions that we can talk about here. So the choice is yours. You won't, if you don't push your luck, there's no way you're getting through this door by picking the lock. There is obviously other ways of entering the house, and there is literally breaking and entering. It's not like you can't gain access, but you're not going to be able to do it subtly. Are you indeed feeling lucky, Clyde?
Oh, go on. I think Clyde would feel lucky.
There we go, 17, more
Well,
than
that'd be
enough.
19 with
Yeah,
proficiency, wouldn't
that's
it?
okay, yeah. But a 17 is more than enough. It is only a simple lock. Who knows? Maybe nerves, maybe the fact that you haven't been drinking copious amounts of alcohol has meant that you're a little bit shaky in the hand at the moment. Maybe you need a little nip of a drink to steady those nerves, or just the fact that you haven't been drinking. But whatever it is, you steady yourself and you pick the lock, and the door is unlocked. It doesn't swing open. Together with that, though, you're fairly confident that this door isn't trapped. It's just basically a common door leading into the living quarters.
Okay, I'll quietly ease it open.
Yeah, and it's dark inside. The shutters have been left closed or deliberately closed. It has that smell of being lived in. If this incident only happened either last night or first thing this morning, then it would have this. There's a degree of warmth to the house as well, as if maybe a fire had died down overnight.
Maybe next time we should ask the lad if he's got a key.
I mean, that is hindsight, and hindsight is very good. So Clyde has done exactly what you asked, which is open the door.
Defago will turn to the others. Not getting any younger.
Yes, let's see what we can see.
Okay, so you enter. Are you closing the door behind you, kind of trying to cover your tracks?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. So you move into this, and it's very much a typical abode within Hope. People just don't have huge amounts of money or access to, you know, items of great wealth and shows of great wealth. It's very homely. Where are you particularly looking, or are you just wanting to investigate the whole area at the moment? The more specific you are, the greater chance you've got of discovering something specific. The more general you are, you might have to make more rolls. And obviously with the critical fails, that can potentially be disastrous. So it's up to you, a combination of thinking things through and choosing the kind of rolls you want to make.
I think Pessimist would be looking for signs of a struggle to start with to know where is a good place to look.
Okay,
Or
well,
if there's any blood, obviously that would be a good indicator.
it's fairly obvious that no struggle has happened in the general living areas. There's nothing is knocked over. There's no damages. There's no scuff marks, even without a roll, unless someone has put everything exactly back where it was. Yeah, there's nothing there. So with that description of what you're doing, you begin to sort of search. Now, are you going to light a light or create or summon a light?
Yeah,
Or,
I think Patronus casts light on. Ooh, what's he carrying? Probably just on an item in the house, like he picks up a glass or a mug of some sort and just
yeah,
cast light on.
it's good enough for me. You cast light on a simple object, and 20-foot bright light, 40-foot dim light, and it does make a difference. And everything you've seen so far is still validated. As you move into it, though, there is you know that there'll be a latrine outside. There are very few places within Hope that has inside latrines. So that only leaves the bedrooms. There's obviously Elwood's bedroom. You can kind of see that. And your heart kind of leaps a little bit as you see that much of the work that you have taught him is pinned, pieces of parchment are pinned to his wall. He seems to have taken great pride in the work that he's been doing with you, which only leaves the parents' bedroom. The door, though, is closed at the moment. Thanks very much for the follow. What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Andy, because DeFago's feeling a bit uncomfortable doing this, he's sort of cracked open very, very slightly one of the shutters and is basically keeping watch.
Okay.
Since the others seem to know what they're doing and he has no idea how to investigate, so he's quite happy keeping watch.
Yeah, that is okay. I will tell you. It's an automatic success unless someone is obviously trying to deceive you or stealth. So I'll tell you if you notice anything. I will be looking at your passive perception at the moment initially, and then moving on to an active role if needed. But it's good to know that you are now, in effect, overwatching. This leaves the rest of you to.
Can I suggest that clerics stand away from the bedroom door and I'll turn the handle with mage hand?
Okay. Is this something that it's obviously a magical world, but is this something that either David or Pectinus has seen from you before, Clyde?
Possibly not.
Okay, so interesting. You're aware of magic. It's not like a great surprise, but the fact that Clyde can do this is perhaps unusual, as this hand is summoned.
Well, there is no hand. This
Yeah,
is the thing.
I was going to
It's
say
an
this
invisible hand.
this thing is invisible for you. And the door handle. There's an obvious sign of you concentrating, though, to make this, but I believe because of your special feat, there's no somatic, verbal, or material components needed. Just a degree of control with your mind. And you see Clyde concentrate, and then you see the door handle begin to rattle. Are you going to turn it and push the door?
Yes, turn and push.
You turn and you push the door. It eerily sort of creaks open. Kind of hits the wall a little bit and then stops. The room in here is a little bit more of a mess. There is a double bed. Many of the sheets are sort of scattered around the room. The dresser seems to have been bumped into, excuse me, and what appears to be a vase that was on the dresser has fallen to the ground and smashed. Beyond that, though, from where you are outside, the light from Petunius's cantrip flowing into the room, you can't really see anything else.
Well, I'll head in and have a look.
Okay, so you move
I'll follow.
you move in
Yeah,
and you move in. So you kind of look around, and it looks very much like the bed was definitely sort of slept in. But this is where you will need to see if you can pick up on any of the subtle details. So this is whoever's doing it needs to give me an investigation roll. You can decide that one of you is going to investigate and the others can help if you want, or you can all do separate rolls. Just bear in mind, more people rolling is greater chance of success, but also greater chance of failing.
Ooh.
Uh, um, put my hand on. I can't really reach his shoulder, but I'll put my hand on sort of Clyde's knee,
Mhm.
and just say, "Let the gods guide you." As we're about to start looking around this room and cast guidance.
Perfect. Okay, so Clyde, it sounds very much like you're going to be doing the investigation roll. If you are comfortable with that, you don't have to if you don't want to. But
Oh no,
guidance will last upon you for 1 minute, and during that minute you can choose a single ability check to roll 1d4 with.
so would this be with advantage as well? I presume they're helping.
Uh, uh, well, is anybody actually trained in investigation other than yourself?
I don't think I am.
So
I've got one in investigation.
no, it's are you proficient in it? Neither of you are proficient. So you have a choice. They can try and help you, but because they are not proficient in it, there is a chance that they may hinder you instead.
I'll suggest they stand back by
Yeah,
the door then.
you kind of know what you're doing, and you've seen scenes like this before, and it's really easy for someone to accidentally ruin the scene and you know destroy the evidence.
And I'll have a hunt around the bedroom then.
Yep. So give me this investigation roll. Oop. So that's very nice, but you also get a D4 if you choose to.
I may as well use it now.
It's at the end of the day, it's a cantrip, and yeah, the higher you roll in with the homebrew rules, the better. Basically, the more information. So that's pumping you up to a very decent 19. Yes, at first, to anybody really, it looks very much um, like nothing has really happened here. But you begin to look at the fine detail, and you begin to identify that it looks very much like there was a larger weight on one side of the bed, and it looks, you remember the words that were spoken, I think, that someone was killed. There's no sign of blood, but certainly with the weight and the way that the bed is depressed, you probably think there's been some kind of maybe smothering that has gone on here. Um, Quite a weight though for the sort of dent within the mattress. The mattress is straw. You kind of begin to carefully look under the bed, and you actually see that a couple of the struts under the bed have virtually snapped through. So whatever weight was on this bed was actually very heavy.
I'm assuming that Averla isn't very heavy.
No, you don't think. I mean, she would have to be jumping up and down, literally, on top of her husband. And bearing in mind, her husband is a smith and is well built, but again, not that kind of weight. It's at that point, though, that you find sort of caught on a bit of floorboard, sort of some flesh, a small sliver of skin, and it looks old, rancid. Doesn't look fresh.
Well, this seems to be a little bit beyond my field of expertise, so I'll carefully tweeze it out and take it over to Dorvid.
Okay, so you are
What's she found
presented
there?
with this.
Now, this was like wedged on a floorboard underneath the bed.
Golly. Let's let me take a close look. Yeah, they'll sort of his goggles as if it's like a magnifying glass.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very very old skin. That is. It doesn't look very fresh at all.
Do you want to give me a medicine roll?
I would love to give you a medicine roll.
This is right up your street. This is. Oh, look at that.
23.
A 23, according to the new homebrew rules, is a critical success.
Oh,
So you look at this, and yeah, it's not so much that you know everything about it, but you look at it and you determine it is flesh. It is suffering necrosis. In other words, it has come from something that has been dead a very long time, and it's kind of hardened as well somewhat. This shouldn't be around here. It is very unusual. Um, um, I mean, it's almost like maybe they have been assaulted by some kind of walking dead.
A Walking Dead that can has enough brain capacity to smother someone.
Yeah, it makes little sense. It makes little sense. There's no sign of forced entry in here or anything else. But you have the evidence in your hand.
Good work, Clyde.
Yes.
So we're
Would
going
we,
straight to the. Sorry, go on.
I was just thinking, we were going to go and investigate the body, but would we be wise alerting the marshal to this post haste?
Yes, I think that would be wise.
The difficulty is that you found this here, yes, but there's no sign of entry. You have no idea how this thing could have got in. It's scant evidence at best, but it's up to you. You also know the Marshal of Hope is most definitely one of the laziest individuals that you have ever had the pleasure to meet. And you have met quite a few lazy people in the past.
Of course we have. We went to university. maybe not. Are any of the deputies reliable? Does anyone know?
Not overly. The two deputies are brothers. They are, you think, employed because they do exactly what the Boyd family tell them to do. The Boyd family are the people that kind of own Hope.
Hmm.
Then perhaps
Right.
our problem to solve.
Do you think it'd be worth um like inquiring with the mother and going to the undertakers and maybe inquiring with the undertaker if anyone knows if anyone deals with undead, then surely an undertaker would know of any happenings or strange deaths going on in town.
Seems a good place to start. At the very least,
Yeah.
really make sure nothing is likely to happen with the newly created corpse.
Definitely. Boy's lost his father. The last thing he wants to do is the last thing I'd yeah. The last thing I'd want is for him to his father arise again and kill someone.
Indeed. Shall we?
After you.
Okay, Defago, you have been watching, and this has taken a little while, maybe about half an hour, but you've not seen anybody come anywhere near the house at all. It's been very quiet.
And they've been relatively quiet in the back room.
Yeah, absolutely. Been actually quite proficient at their investigations. Very, very clever.
So shall we quietly leave the way we came and leave everything pretty much as we found it?
You taking the skin with us? If I'll take out a handkerchief to place the bit of skin in to carry it for now.
Hey, what you got there, little one? And Defago sort of leans over to see what you've got.
It looks like a bit of old jerky, but that's it. It's a bit of undead skin.
It is. I mean, it's very strange with your critical success. I mean, it's definitely suffering necrosis without a doubt, but you've never seen anything like this before. You've kind of in your university days studied the undead, and you are familiar with skeletons. They don't have skin like this, and zombies. Zombies' flesh tends to be quite putrid, and it does fall off, but it's not the same sort of thick and sort of leathery kind of substance that this is. This is very strange, and I say,
Andy,
yep.
Andy, because I've got proficiency in leatherworking, does this look like it's been preserved?
Can you give me leatherworking skill? So this will have your proficiency, and I'll allow you to use wisdom as well. So you got +5 to this.
So it's just clicking on wisdom and rolling. That was rubbish. I rolled that and it was good and it didn't stay in the box.
Oh, there we go. So, but you've got +2 to that as well, which is a 12. You don't think so. You don't think this has been treated as such. But the one thing that you are certain about is that you can see which is the outer skin, the surface, and you can see what would be the inner skin. And the inner skin's normally got, maybe muscle tissue or whatever to it, and there is none of that on this as well. This is almost as if it was very much as you would do to a animal skin, you know, um, sort of a flayed piece of flesh.
Defago will pass it back, pointing at the inside of the skin, shake his head, and then point to his own arm curled to make a muscle, and shake his head furiously, and then take one of his furs, which maybe he might normally wear more of a coat, and then put it over the top of his head as if he's wearing it like that, and then hold out both hands to the rest of them.
Okay. It's up to you to make of that as you wish, really.
I'll sort of hold on to his hand and sort of like shake it a bit. It's all right, Defago. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Hell yeah.
So, guys, I'm all for open debate, but maybe if we have it somewhere other than a crime scene.
Yes, let's
Yes.
make for the Undertaker.
That's right.
Okay,
Please.
so it's relatively easy to do. As I say, this is not a big place. Are you leaving the item you've cast light on within the house?
Oh, Peximus, I'd turn that off if I was you.
Yeah, I mean,
want
I
to leave the
will
lights
be
on.
leaving it in the house. Can you cancel spells that aren't concentration early?
Yeah, you can counter that.
Yeah. I'd do that.
I believe that with light, if you cast it on something else, it drops from the first item you cast it on anyway. So it's not in effect a unresolvable situation. So you cancel the light in the house, and you kind of leave. Are you going to try and lock the door behind you, Clyde, or are you just going to just pull it shut as if someone forgot to open it? Sort of lock it.
Option B, knowing the marshal as I do, I don't think it's really going to come under any sort of suspicion.
Nah, you think it's fine, you know. Okay, you begin to make your way again through the muddy streets. It's now sort of mid-morning after your investigations, and you can see on the edge of town the undertakers, a number of pre-made coffins. He also acts as the town's carpenter as well. At the moment, you see that he's got a heavy coat on. It's cold up in the dredges and it's drizzling, and he's kind of outside and he's sawing what appears to be some wood at the moment. Okay. He doesn't particularly pay you any attention until you try and attract his attention, really.
You made it out in one piece?
What? He says. That's you.
Defaga makes a sound like someone's last moments as a bone rattling cough in his throat, and motions to the others.
All right. Can any one of you translate what Bird Brain here is talking about?
Morning, Thurman. The two new clerics want to have a look at your new body, if that's all right. Something
What
about
the?
thinking
No, this isn't a sideshow. What are you
they
talking?
think that they're worried there might be an infection going round just between me and you.
Infection? I've touched the body. You're kidding me.
Well, can't be too careful, can you?
Can I have a deception roll from you, please?
Fargo will grin at him and make another death rattle at him.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. Right. Yeah. I guess you better have a look. It's Yeah, it makes you wonder what on earth makes a woman want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit out of the blue,
Hell
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Well, follow me. He kind of leads you up the steps into the Undertaker's proper. You see that there is the smell of sort of timber within the room, and it's kind of mixed in with appears to be wild flowers to try and remove the smell that is also there of decay. There are, he leads you into the back, 4 bodies, sort of in kind of coffins at the moment. This is not unusual for the dredges. Death is cheap. Yeah, there you go. It's that one there. I mean, you know him anyway, don't you? He was okay.
Yes.
I got a lot of my ironware from him. Don't know what we're going to do now. I need nails, tools. We better hopefully get another smith sooner rather than later, really. Anyway, I'm going to stay away if you say he's got some kind of disease. And
Yes, yes, very infectious. Thank you very much.
he just leaves you to it.
Shut the door in his face.
Oh, damn.
Um,
Trod in something. Which he recognises his normal
Indeed.
term for when he doesn't like people.
Oh, you and me both, DeFago.
Hell yeah.
What are you calling you? What are you calling you, bird brains? Not on. It's not right. Anyway, so to the body
Yeah.
and have a lucky day.
Okay, this indeed is going to be another medicine roll. If anybody wants to, if you're trained in medicine, you can help.
DeFago is.
Yeah, I'm happy to help him. I
Okay.
also will probably cast guidance on him for this one because I feel like this is an important.
It most definitely is an important one. So you have both the aid action and D4. So give us a roll, please.
Oh, for me,
Yeah. Advantage on medicine,
uh,
and you've got the
advantage.
D4 roll as well. There we go. Nice, 18. So most definitely, he looks like he has been suffocated. He's been smothered. That is relatively easy to determine. You can see that the sort of burst blood vessels. There's no sign of any kind of cuts or other kind of trauma there at all. But with that roll, you also manage to sort of notice that it's kind of strange. It's almost like if someone is going to smother someone else, they tend to just put a pillow over their face and sort of press down until they can't breathe anymore. This doesn't look like the case here. It's like the entire body was encased in something and slowly but surely constricted and smothered, as if it was kind of wrapped in a massive blanket. Your feeling is that she could not have done this. Something else beyond this. As you further investigate, you notice that up his nose and in his mouth there is more of the small pieces of this necrotic skin. There's also a number of pieces underneath his fingernails.
Looks like he may have tried to fight it off.
It certainly wouldn't have been
Fascinating.
instant, and it certainly would have been terrifying and painful.
Do we know if this happened in his sleep, or was the wife asleep next to him, or?
You don't know at the moment.
We should ask her. Maybe she'll have some useful information to impart.
Oh yeah.
Ears open.
Okay.
Shall we go on
Yes, unless you
other
think you
quick?
can learn anything else here, I think there's no time to waste, really.
Not getting any younger.
Yeah. Can I have a quick check over the other bodies, or they?
Well, there's no such thing as a quick check. Just because you rolled
Yeah.
medicine here, it took you a good maybe half an hour to an hour to investigate that body. It takes time to do investigations. You can. There's no. I mean, I have no issue with you investigating the other bodies. It is up to you
Yeah.
whether you want to do that
Oh,
or not.
Have we heard of
you
any
fellows
more
want?
suspicious deaths recently?
Not at all. No. There's been plenty of
Mm.
deaths, but nothing like this. But then again, this is only suspicious because it's actually been pointed out to you.
Okay. Uh, if, I'm torn whether if it'd be worth my time looking into the other corpses, unless you fellows want to go and speak to the wife, and I'd just be left with a. Oh, you know what? I'll leave it. I'll come here to and see the wife.
As Dorvid persuades himself what is the best thing to do, it is completely up to you, as I say. You have complete free reign about what you want to do, but time is your ally or enemy.
Defargo will look to Pectinus and do a fair impression of him, saying, "Let's move on then."
Okay. But with that, Pectinus will nod at his own wisdom and walk out the door.
Okay, so you leave. The Undertaker looks at you. Is it some kind of disease?
No, it looks like it's all
No.
right. But they might
Yeah,
want to
looks
come and
like we
look at
caught
the
it
other
early
ones.
enough.
Thank the gods for that then. Oh dear. What a job, eh? What a job. Right, okay, well, thank you.
Can I roll an insight on the Undertaker?
What are you trying to determine?
Just does he seem honest, or is he a bit shifty?
Well, I mean, shifty is the default in the dredges. Beyond
Yeah.
that, you can certainly make a roll, but don't forget there is the chance of critical fails here. So you've asked to make a roll, so give us a roll.
19.
Yeah, you kind of look at him. He's no more shifty than anybody else within the dredges, just doing his
Okay.
job, trying to earn a coin. I mean, he is never short of work, let's face it. And I'm not talking about carpentry here.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your assistance. We'll let you know if we need anything else.
All right. Okay. He pulls his hat down and begins to carry on to sort of saw some wood. Okay. Yeah, it's beginning to rain heavily now, turning the muddy streets into a quagmire. You all pull your coats and cloaks and hats down as you begin to make your way, I'm assuming, towards the sheriff's office. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Marshal's office, really. It is pretty much very similar, slightly more sturdy than other structures within Hope. Again, a few steps up to a veranda, and you walk into what is most clearly sort of the sheriff's, the marshal's office. You see that Marshal Reginald Bennett is sort of in a rocking chair, sort of snoozing, and you see that there is Taylor and Wright Coghill that are appear to be playing with a knife. They look at you. Yeah, can I help you?
Oh yeah.
Right, well, what are you doing? What's the
We are.
problem?
We're here. We're here to as an independent investigator to speak with the wife of the blacksmith.
Fancy talk. Oh, you don't need to worry, it's all sorted. She's guilty. The only real thing that we're waiting to hear is whether she's going to be hung or sent to the stink.
Oh my God, man! If you'd have done your job, you'd
Sorry?
have known that.
Sorry? Are you saying I?
How did the?
Are you saying that I don't know how to do my job?
Oh, I'm not saying that you didn't do your job. You didn't do a very good one.
Right. You're new to Hope, aren't you?
I am.
You need to mind your words. Life can be a lot easier for people if they mind their words, if they make the right kind of friends and certainly don't make any enemies. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fargo pointedly makes the sound of a bear trap being opened slowly.
I mean, if you need time to think about it, we've got a few empty cells that we could accommodate you with.
I think what the cleric meant to say, Marshal, was that
It's the deputies, the marshal's still fast asleep at the moment, and you can kind of, certainly you, Clyde, can definitely smell whiskey kind of on his breath.
yeah, I think what the clerics meant to say, the boys, was that basically they want to look out for her immortal soul, before she gets her neck stretched.
Right. Well, why didn't they say then? I don't have a
Well,
problem with that.
Yes, of course.
out of towners, you know what they're like.
Yeah. Uh, Everything in Hope is running smoothly at the moment, and I would hate to have any disruption to that. And the mayor doesn't like disruptions either, if you know what I mean, Clyde.
Yeah. Me and Boyd have an arrangement. I think I'll take them aside later, and I'll have a quiet word with them.
It sounds good. He kind of gets a bunch of keys, kind of opens up the door to the jailhouse, which is part of it. Leads you into there, and you basically see the jails are normally busy. There's one or two drunks, someone that looks like they have had an argument with a horse, and you see looking completely out of place the wife of the blacksmith, Sullivan Christie, her name being Verla Christie. She's looking very nervous sitting in this cell all alone. I'll just put her name down there in chat. Right, well, go ahead, do your clerical duties. And he turns, leaves, and you notice he locks you in. This is standard, really. You're not in the cells, you're just in the passageway with the jails that come off the cells. And this is sort of the typical sort of Dredges jail. It's very reminiscent of kind of the Old West. It's just really bars with doors. There's no walls or anything else.
Defargo will basically say in the voice of her son, I think he said something like, "My mum could never have done this."
Mm-hmm.
So Defargo will say that to her with a pleasant gesture. I don't know when you've got a beak how you can smile, but in an open way, mimicking her son.
I mean, this could go one of two ways, really. It could be seen as really nice, or it could be seen that you are mocking everything. So give me a persuasion as we...
He's doing his best not to sound like he's mocking.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
just happens to have to
yeah,
mimic it exactly.
which is why the DC is substantially sort of lower.
Just like to apologise to everybody else.
Which is a good job.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That, unfortunately, it's not a critical fail because the DC is low and you need to miss it by 10, but it's not a success. You do, though, get her attention, and she turns and sort of meets you with kind of a steely glare, as if she's about to try and put up some kind of fight to protect her son.
In an attempt to try and stave this off, I'll go forward and I'll say, look, Verla, look, Elwood's with us at the mission. We don't think you did this, and neither does he. And these two clerics from out of town want to ask you some questions to try and get this sorted out.
Okay, it seems that plain speaking, just like that, makes her realise the meaning behind De Fago. She calms down and her eyes most definitely soften. She says, "Really, I'll tell you everything that I know, and that is where we will leave it till the next session." Thank you very much, everybody. A very interesting start with a murder mystery. What on earth is going on? He did some most excellent role play and some very interesting roles there. And David almost ended up a night in the cell for speaking your mind. What kind of place is this, Dredges? No place for university types from the sounds of it.
No.
I hope you enjoyed that, players. I hope you enjoyed it, viewers. I kind of love this setting. It's kind of this. It's away from civilization and trying to determine who is the good guys and who are the bad guys. Who can you trust and who can't you trust? And only time will tell. So thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow night we will be doing character generation for our Friday night game of Battles of Legend. So if you're a Twitch subscriber, you can just jump in and create your characters, and we'll talk to you in chat tomorrow night from 10:30 to midnight. We'll get those characters ready for the Battles of Legend, and then on Friday we'll do Battles of Legends itself. In the meantime, as I say, thank you very much. It's exciting. This is the first episode of the second campaign. We'll be doing the third one on Saturday night, where we encounter a very different setting as we head far to the south, where it's very warm in the place known as Dust. In the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much to everybody. If you are still hanging around for all the follows, it's awesome to see that. Thank you very much for all of the support. Take care, everybody, and until we next meet, Stay safe.
Cheers, Andy. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.